Welcome. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey and We, episode 25. I am your host, Terry, here to bring you whatever the fuck I want to bring you for the week, honestly. But I hope it's entertaining, and I hope I've kept up with the entertainment for you listeners. So, announcements I have this week. I'm having some slight difficulties with the Spotify. I guess it's not uploading all the episodes. So I'm currently in the process of trying to get that fixed. So bear with me for anyone that uses Spotify to listen to the show. But I mean, in the meantime, I still have the other social platforms that I've mentioned before. We have Podbean, and you can stream it from the website and the app that's in iTunes. iTunes as well, obviously, Android apps, and then YouTube where you can stream the audio. So a few other platforms for now, but like I said, bear with me. I'm in the process of trying to get the Spotify thing fixed. So I hope you all are having a bomb ass week. I know I am. I'm a little tired though, because I'm just doing so much shit. I'm just trying to tackle so many goals, and at the same time, with prayer, just trying to make sure I don't overdo it and overwhelm myself. I think one of my biggest issues in life, I believe, is patience, especially at this day and age for me. I think I have figured out so many answers to questions I've been asking for a while. And now that I know the answers for myself, I feel like I want it now. And I'm, willing to put in the hard work, but I'm just taking on bits and pieces here and there. But at the end of the day, I'm truly blessed, and I couldn't necessarily complain because, life is great and the blessings just keep coming. So with that, I send out, this good energy to anyone who's having a bad day, a bad week. Just keep your head up, and with prayer and meditation, keep the faith in there, keep the hope alive. So we can jump into our What's the Whiskey Friend. Who or what do I have first? What can we go over this week that I thought was pretty interesting topics? One interesting topic is the marijuana testing ban for job applicants that they're trying to push for in the city of New York. So a bill was passed. I don't know, I know I do have listeners definitely across the states, but for those in New York, you obviously know or have heard like kind of what I'm talking about. So a bill was passed by New York City Council. It was the latest in a series of steps to ease cannabis restrictions as efforts to legalize marijuana. Most employees in New York City will no longer be able to force job applicants to take drug tests for marijuana use. And the vote was a 40-4 vote. So, lately, I feel like ever since I've been up here, not that I've had many jobs, but come to think of it, I'm trying to think, when was the last time I actually did a drug test? I honestly can't recall, but at the same time, my career field in fashion and retail is a little bit different. So maybe it's not as much of a requirement than compared to a government job or a job that has to do with being a doctor or anything under that. So I never had a strong experience with having to get a drug test. And with this happening in New York, if many of you don't know, obviously I am recreational with marijuana. I mostly do vapes now, if anything, because it seems to mellow me just right, especially with a cup of coffee. But yeah, I personally know my body and know how I am under the influence. So when I do smoke, I prefer to commit to that at home and behind closed doors. And I'm at the point now where I don't even go out and socialize under the influence. I think it's that feeling, that lack of control, and coming from a place where I had anxiety and social anxiety, and a lot of that was from staying inside a lot, being unemployed, and just constantly going in on the blunts and smoking and being high. I think that not necessarily trauma, but that like memory stuck with me, and I'm a little bit more cautious now where when I do step out, I want to make sure I'm in control because I've worked through the anxiety and the social anxiety to get to where I am now. So I don't want anything to kind of enable that anxiety to arise if it's not my comfort zone. So I prefer to be in my four walls and by myself majority of the time, because that's where I'm able to create and manifest and do whatever the hell I got to do. So yeah, I mean, I do it, but have I done it and gone to work? I believe I have once up here in New York, and I was fine at the time. I remember just being high. So, it says that not every employee would be exempt from the drug testing if the bill becomes law. If workers appear to be under the influence of marijuana at work, employees would still be permitted to drug test. So, I mean, I think it's great. To me, it's progression, especially if it's something as little as marijuana. I feel like marijuana is not as harmful, if harmful at all, compared to the other drugs. I think, like I said, marijuana affects me good. But I also know my limit. I also know my limitations and my boundaries on how much I indulge myself in it. So when it comes to like if this bill becomes a law and employees won't have to drug test, where obviously there will be the standard, but I guess for open conversation and open debate, like where would that boundary be on making sure it's controlled to an extent where it's not affecting companies and businesses and profits? So is it a good thing? Like I said, I think it's good progression, but depending on the person, I guess, under the influence, because people, it is a drug at the end of the day. So it's something that is being abused and overdone by a lot of people. So I'm curious to see how this would affect the job field, and I'm hoping that it will stay in a positive lane, but there's always going to be some shit that's going to happen. So obviously I hope it doesn't get to extreme measures where if you're a truck driver or whatever, I think a company like that, they probably would still drug test. But let's say they didn't, and you're a truck driver and you're under the influence and you're high as fuck, and you manage to just cause an accident or something, or a fatality, like situations like that. I think in the long run, it's going to be dissected into who can pass and who can go for it, and who will still have to be drug tested. But I'm curious to see, because like, is it a good idea or is it not a good idea to let this be banned where people won't have to be drug tested? I think it's a good idea, but I also think to an extent, because a lot of people don't have self-discipline on things, and it could be abused, and there could be a lot of negative outcomes if not kind of monitored in a sense. So I'm definitely curious to see how this is going to unfold. But I realize I probably say a lot when I have to listen to this shit, because I am the one that's like doing all this editing and stuff. It's probably why I'm tired as fuck. But I think I walk away from each episode trying to improve, I guess self-improve. And I notice that people can be so critical of themselves, and I am one of those niggas that is so critical of himself. I'm like, damn, like I annoy myself sometimes. So I sit there and I'm like, damn, I hope I'm not annoying anyone else, because I'm like, damn, I say a lot, or just like that, or even all the way to hearing myself like gulp or swallow. I'm like, damn, I'm fucking annoying. But that's probably just me. I know y'all love me and I know y'all support me. So here we go. What we got next? I have stepping out of the NYC and the marijuana. Let's jump into something positive for a second. So I read recently that Netflix is going to be picking up its first animated series from Africa called Mama K's Team 4. And I can't express in my voice how excited I am for this, especially after reading about it. I've been, as much as they have on Netflix, I'll admit it. I'm a cartoon kind of guy. Like, I like adult cartoons. Usually when I go to sleep, I'll watch Family Guy, put on American Dad. A lot of my friends know that about me, that it's like a ritual at this point. But I'm very interested in seeing what this show is about, even if it's a kid's show. But I'm also in support of the fact that it is the first animated series from Africa. So that already kind of got me to, wanting to support it. And whether I watch it with godchildren or by myself, whatever, I'm just here to support, and I'm all here for it. So it was produced by South Africa's award-winning Triggerfish Animation Studios and British Kids. The series follows 4 teenage girls living in a futuristic version of Lusaka, Zambia. Just want to make sure I'm pronouncing things right. Who are recruited by a retired secret agent to save the world. It was created by Zambian writer Malinga Mulindima. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because I really don't want to, no disrespect. She was one of the 8 winners in the Triggerfish Story Lab, a Pan-African talent search back in the Cape Town-based animation studio. So Mulindima, make sure, she says that she was highly inspired by the experience of watching cartoons as a child in her native Zambia, where none of the heroes looked like her or lived in a world that resembled her own. So in creating a superhero show set in Lusaka, she hoped to introduce the world to 4 strong African girls who saved the day in their own fun and crazy way. And also, she says, most importantly, she wants to illustrate that anyone from anywhere can be a superhero. So, the message in its own and where the inspiration comes from, like that off the bat, is like, shit, I'm definitely here for it. I'm 100% behind this, and you get all my support. So it doesn't say when, or at least I wasn't able to find when the show will premiere or an actual date and talks of like what's going on, but definitely be on the lookout for it and keep checking Netflix. I know Netflix is big now to kind of highlight new shows, with the update and everything and how they present themselves. So I'm sure it's something that I won't be able to miss while getting on Netflix, but I can't wait for this to come out. And once it does come out, I'm going to be talking about it again. But yeah, definitely show some support to that. I think it's a good introduction and, once again, progression. So we have next. Okay, what I want to go into is this Kim Kardashian thing. And I know, I really don't enjoy talking about the Kardashians at all. But I really wanted to touch on this subject of what's been happening with Kim Kardashian lately. So if no one is aware, which I'm sure everyone is, she's been studying to become a lawyer, and she plans to take the bar in 2022. So she was in the Vogue May magazine, and she pretty much mentions how she's been studying to become a lawyer, and she's been doing so in secret for the last year. And I guess to gather understanding of how this works in the West Coast in California, it says that she's not gonna be in law school, but she is doing a 4-year apprenticeship at a law firm in San Francisco, which in California is a legal way for someone to become a lawyer and take the bar without attending law school. So, I'm not going to question it. I've seen a lot of comments where it has been questioned, like, how is this possible? How do you make a decision like that? And are you able to accomplish it without following step 1, 2, and 3? So I'm not as familiar with the steps it takes to become a lawyer. I just know it's hard as fuck, because I have friends who are lawyers and have gone to law school, and no life at all, because everything was about the books and about the major. So I understand that it's definitely hard as fuck. She, like I said, her goal is to take the bar in 2022, and I guess the inspiration came from the Alice Marie Johnson that happened last year, which inspired her and pushed her to really move forth with the decision. So I'm definitely in support of stuff like this. I'm not gonna sit here and find a reason to hate on what she's doing, especially if it's something in the right direction. I'm all in support of that, and I wouldn't knock that she's doing this. I think my concern with Kim Kardashian, I guess the reason why I wanted to talk about this, it ties into my me versus the media topic for today. And I felt that this was kind of a good example to compare and contrast when it comes to my me versus the media. So I'm trying to think if I should wait to do it. Okay, so since this is the last topic for What's the Whiskey Friend, what we can do next is we can jump into me versus the media now and then say keeping it real for last. So we're going to do that right now. We're done with What's the Whiskey Friend. So my me versus the media topic this week is people who brag about all the good stuff that they're doing on social media. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this and just do a little compare and contrast to the whole Kim Kardashian thing. I support, like I said, I'm all for it, and I applaud Kim for what she's doing. But I think my slight issue when it comes to just Kim herself is that I feel like everything is always promoted through social media as if you're looking for this praise to get for the good that you're doing, instead of just doing it and just being happy that you are making a difference in the world without having to post it. And it's not even this particular post, it's just a lot that I've witnessed from her when it comes to her doing something good. I feel like she always goes to put it on social media, and I get that there can be some inspiration, but just based off of their history of always being in the spotlight, always wanting attention, and always trying to create a storyline for the show, it just raised a slight eyebrow when it came to her, because I'm like, well, just fucking do it. Like, if you're doing it, then just do it and let the news report it, or let the influence just kind of happen on its own. But if you have to go to social media to kind of let people know that you're out there doing good in the world, it's like you're trying to paint this image and receive this praise. And sometimes I just feel, not saying her necessarily, but sometimes it can just come off as disingenuous, because when it relates to social media overall, I feel like I do witness that happening sometimes. I witness like the people filming themselves giving money to a homeless person. For some reason, that doesn't tickle me, because if you're gonna do it to make that person's day and give that person the blessing. But when you put them on camera, first of all, they may not want to be filmed. And I get that some people need to see the message, because at the end of the day, it's good. You're doing good. But sometimes you got to ask yourself, are your intentions 100% genuine, or are they partly genuine, but is there expectation behind that you also want to get glorified for it when you put it on social media, and you want people to like praise you and look at you as this good person. Now, I'm not gonna be hypocritical about it. Like, I've even posted when I went to Puerto Rico, how I worked at the library and I wanted to give back. And I guess my main point of doing that, I will say, was to kind of inspire people, to kind of show people that this is still happening. And it's always good to, we go to these places, and a place like Puerto Rico, for example, after the hurricane, and people without power and electricity and water and food. I didn't want to go there and just sit on a tourist area just to soak up the luxuries of the island without giving something back to the community. So I wanted to push for that so much, and I'm glad that I was able to do that with my close friends and just make a difference. And I felt so good that I definitely wanted to share that. But I guess my point is, I can understand when people do it, and I'm not saying every time someone does it, there's disingenuine in it. It's just, you can catch the ones that do it and will post it, or will post a social status on Facebook or whatever, kind of going over what they've done that's good for the day. And it's like, well, something like that, that's a moment that, you necessarily don't have to mention to anybody. You did your blessing, you're going to get your karma, and you made a difference in someone's life. And I think the best thing to do instead of posting it is to just continue doing that, to make a difference in the world because you want to see better, not because you want to post it, but then you want to hurry up and show it to your social media friends so everybody can comment and say, oh, wow, like great, but not doing anything. And I feel like if you really want to make a difference, go as far as starting a fundraiser or get people to go with you to volunteer or get people to join in. But when you just go as far as just posting and you do that one good deed, is there enough genuineness behind it to back it up? I mean, with Kim Kardashian, I just feel like it's great what she's doing, and I love that. I love it. Her father was a lawyer, so I can understand and I can definitely see that happening. It's just with her track record of always posting something good that she's doing and everything instead of just doing it. And she mentions that, she's been doing this in secrecy for the last year, but it's like she's posting, I aced my test and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And it's like, well, just focus on that then. I mean, it's great. You're going to make a difference in the world, but why continue on this like bragging platform? I never necessarily understood that. Like, if I do good, I want to do good every day. So I'm not going to sit there and post every time I do good. And I probably won't post at all. Like if I do good, I did it in that moment. You definitely want to motivate people. But yeah, it was just, I kind of was like, okay, I mean, you ain't got to say everything you're doing. I think it's best when you just do it because there's a lot of people in the world that are doing so much, like Akon. And I had a conversation over the weekend with a gentleman who mentioned like Denzel Washington is doing a lot that doesn't get publicized and everything. So I think just focus on making a difference and focus on your ultimate goal and less on trying to get acceptance and get this crown of approval from everyone and painting a picture as if you're like this humanitarian, great person, which I'm not saying you're not, but I think it's best to just focus on the goal at hand and make a difference instead of just always trying to do everything for promotion and likes. So, I mean, I'll leave it at that. And I guess I tied in my whole me versus the media in the What's the Whiskey Friends. So very short categories for this evening because, it was a busy ass week. But what we can do now is we can take a break, which for me is like 5 to 10 minutes. For y'all, it's like 3 seconds. But yeah, we'll take a break. And when we come back, we're going to jump into Keeping It Real. All right. And we are back. I hope you all enjoyed your break, your 3 second or 2 second break, however long it was or short. So we're going to jump into Keeping It Real. And I want to talk about a conversation I had this week with a few individuals. One particular, definitely open-minded in the sense, willing to learn, but at the same time, very naive and ignorant. So let's see, where can I even start? Okay, so I mean, a conversation ensued over social media. So it was pretty much from RuPaul's Drag Race. And if y'all don't watch the show, y'all missing the fuck out because that shit is fucking hilarious. I mean, I got my mom into it. It's so fun and entertaining, especially after a long ass week. But the last episode, I won't give spoilers or anything, but there was just a incident with, I guess it was on the Untuck episode or What Happens Behind Stage. And there was kind of a back and forth with one of the contestants, Raja O'Hara, being a black woman. And who was the other one? Plastique. So, I mean, if you guys watch the show, my opinion of Raja is that I really don't care for her. And I think she's so talented, but her energy and attitude is just nasty, like just toxic and very spiteful and everything. But aside from that, there was a clip posted, reiterating what happened on the show and how she acted and everything. So I was definitely like, yeah, like it was wrong of her. She was just being hateful and just being envious and having like a goddamn nervous breakdown. So when I kind of review people's opinions and see how they feel about the situation, I come across a comment that is from a person, and this person says, I won't say every black person is racist, but I do agree. Black people target others, but the moment you speak up, you are the racist one. Racism goes all ways, people. Please know that. Don't do to others what you wouldn't like for you. This topic has been brought up, I'm sure, many different occasions, especially amongst people of color and people of non-color. This Keeping It Real is kind of revolving around the topic of, can black people be racist? Can they be racist to white people? I guess I get a little irritated when it's like, damn, you still, like, in this day and age, you have to explain stuff like this to people. But it's just sad too, on the fact that people are like not even aware, and just the interpretation of racism alone. I think a lot of people will scratch the surface with that term, and when it comes to its definition, so saying certain things, they only stop right there when it comes to what racism is. Oh, saying this or that. But there's a deeper definition that I feel is inputted when it comes to the term racism. You know, I commented on this and I said, black people can be prejudiced to white people, but not racist. And I was like, by definition. So the person responds and says, nah, hate is hate no matter where it comes from. So then I have to go in and respond, hate, yeah. Racism, no. Racism is defined as a race feeling superior amongst another race or being inferior to other races. So as mentioned, black people can be prejudiced, but not racist. So the person, debate continues. The person responds, some black people do feel that way and do that to others. Also, I'm tired of people using their skin color as an excuse. For example, if a black guy does something to a white person and the white person claps back, then she is being racist. Let me go to my next picture. Being racist according to black people, and nope, period. I don't know why it ended like that, but I mean, and to be honest, I'm not even getting frustrated with this person. I'm disappointed, and I feel bad for the lack of education when it comes to things like these, and how people are willing to place their opinion so strongly on a topic such as racism, and they deliver it as if it's a fact. But then when you really dig deep and you start to ask questions and explain it, come to find out they really don't know what they're talking about or what they're trying to deliver. And there's so much more to learn on their part. But yet here they are, like, willing to stand their ground on what they believe racism is. And with these examples, which, sorry, I probably hit the mic, my bad. Oops. What their reasons are of what racism is. And like the example alone, if a black person does something to a white person and the white person claps back, then he or she is racist according to the black people. Well, I mean, let's talk about the situation. How are they clapping back? I mean, it's already kind of set in stone on how white people have been racist to black people. But I respond to that. You're not understanding the difference between hate, prejudice, and racism. What you're saying does not justify that black people are racist. I'm saying no matter the opinion, by definition, black people cannot be racist. When it says a race that feels superior amongst another race, it means how white people tell people or other races to go back to their country, for example, or how simply the hate that instills in them for black people and how they treat people just because of their color. What you're saying is only explaining hate and prejudice, but once again, it's not racist. So this person, being open-minded, asked to DM me to carry the conversation outside of the thread and now privately, because they have some questions, and I'm all for it. Like, I'm always willing to have a healthy debate where we can both educate one another on topics like this. There doesn't need to be any disrespect. There doesn't need to be any profanity or whatever. Let's kind of exchange knowledge. Let's actually communicate and exchange some words, because I don't know everything either. And this is obviously a person of a different background who doesn't understand it. I was open, and I'm open to definitely having a debate to discuss further on how we can better understand each other and teach each other. So the person reaches out and says they have some questions about racism in general. Mention English is not their first language. So that's when I realized, okay, they may not even be from the United States, which can also play a different part on how they view racism. Not to say it only exists in the US, but because it definitely doesn't, but they may, wherever they're from, they may have a different outlook. So they say, so as you said, black people can't be racist to white people, but I have seen black people who fit the role of a racist. So could you explain to me a little bit better? I go in with my opinion of how I view things. I say, because I believe it's more than just what they can say. Black people can be ignorant to other races, but they are not oppressing other races. I look at racism much deeper than what people say to others. They can be mean, like anybody can be mean, but are they really oppressing another race? And this person goes on to ask, what is oppressing to you? I just don't see the difference between black and other races. And I respond, power. Power a race has over another. For example, the situation black people usually face when having the cops called on them for simply being black. White people make these decisions based off of their racist white privilege, knowing that by them calling the cops, it will conclude to a black person either being profiled and or getting killed. They do it simply out of spite and on purpose with intent because they know that's most likely going to be the outcome that we see. And that's why you would think, like on the news, that's why we see on the news where all these situations keep happening. And it's like, wait, don't these people know like this is being broadcast? Like you are going to get filmed and this will be put on the news, but they know like they do it anyway out of spite because they know power over you to do something like this. And I know the outcome will probably be one or two things, if not both. Like you get arrested, they're automatically going to take my side because I'm white, and like you may get killed. And we've seen so much of that in the media and with over the, like it's been happening for so long now. So I'm explaining it to them and I'm like, it's a very thin line, and I can see where you're coming from, but I feel racism is more than just spewing hateful words. I think minority races can be prejudiced to one another, but can never oppress another race because they already lack the power to do so, such as compared to the white person. And then I kind of resorted it back to Drag Race to see if that person thought that the person on Drag Race was being racist, but they admitted that no, she was being hateful. So just even like, where did this kind of comment come from? Just out of that, like you obviously felt that this person had some kind of racist tendencies when that wasn't it at all. They were really just being hateful and spiteful, like something that can be instilled in a person of any race. So just that conversation kind of got me thinking, because another person jumped in trying to explain why they think black people can be racist, and it's across all races. But like I said, I feel like it's more than just, I think people stop at the what's being said, but when you look deeper into racism, I just think it's much more than that. And it reminds me of like the quote from Dear White People from the movie, when it's like, black people can't be racist. Prejudice, yes, but not racist. Racism describes a system of disadvantage based on race. Black people can be racist since we don't stand to benefit from such a system. It's kind of like we are already oppressed. We already lack that power that goes into the definition of what racism is. So, and I've witnessed this conversation and this topic brought up, and even from fellow black people that, let's just say, are raised in a white environment, a white community, are grown up to think like, oh, well, yeah, black people can be racist to white people. And this is my experience where this person said this or did that. But I think it takes further investigation and further knowledge and growth to understand the true term and overall view of racism, because I guess it's just being viewed in different ways from different people. And having a conversation with this individual on social media, it just got me thinking, like, a lot of people, I'm wondering if the younger generation is being taught what racism is and how, the definition of racism and where it works and where it doesn't work. Because it seems that this person is young of age, and they have their own interpretation, I guess, based off of what they get from the media and from the news feed. But I'm questioning, like, is it being taught in schools the right way? Is it being authentic? And hopefully they're not covering shit up, because I read about that last year. But this is a topic that just seems to have to keep being brought up, because people of color have to constantly explain to white people. These businesses and like people making decisions like the H&M thing and the Gucci thing, I'm starting to look at it like, well, obviously I know some companies are just flat out racist, and those I won't fuck with or support. But then sometimes I look at companies and I'm like, because of the lack of diversity that they have in the corporate office, do they even realize that what they're doing is considered racist? It's considered like inappropriate. Are they doing it on purpose, or are they just that ignorant? They're that naive that they don't know the history behind making a choice to do something like this, such as put a black boy in a coolest monkey in the jungle, or to make a ski mask with the red lip outlining representing blackface. It's like, now it's like, wait, y'all need more diversity, because it seems like y'all are so uneducated that you make these decisions without giving it a second thought. Like, you don't have that person in there saying, hey, hold on now, let's chill, because like this, let me tell you a little bit about doing this and how it's going to affect the people of color in the community. So I think it's always good to bring up, to educate wherever you can. But goddamn, like, y'all spitting out these arguments and spreading these messages on social media saying like, well, yeah, black people can be racist to white people, and this is why, because if this person claps back and then all of a sudden they're racist, well, you goddamn right the white person is racist, especially depending on what they do or say, because they quick to feel threatened and quick to call the cops and everything, and quick to, you know, God forbid you raise your voice 2 tones up and you're considered an angry black man or angry black woman. I mean, it's been going on for way too long now to not see it for what it is. So yeah, I think a curious question out of this that is, can minorities be racist to one another? So I think that's a good thought-provoking question to initiate some debate and some comments and reactions. So with all that said, I think I'm going to wrap it up for keeping it real. I just had to really bring that to the table, and I honestly hope I have future discussions with people of color, people of non-color, on the topic and the topics that surround it, to further educate each other and myself included, and further grow from it. So that's it. Shout outs. Man, it was a short ass show. Let me tell you, I ain't mad at it though. I told y'all I'm tired, but I'm still doing it because I'm committed. But my shout out for this episode goes out to my girl, Nicole. Damn, she gets on my nerves. Nah, I love her to death though. We drive each other crazy. So my girl Nicole is doing her thing. She is a stylist. She's a personal stylist. And she is also doing a spring closet cleanse. So that's pretty much where she will re-wardrobe your closet and come in and, I guess, work with you on throwing things out, adding new things, kind of creating a look per outfit, per stop prints, or whatever you have in there, or whatever you need her to do. So she pretty much will come in, and you can tie that into her styling as well if you need help getting clothes ready or getting outfits ready for, let's say you're going on a trip and you don't have time to go shopping. Hit up my girl Nicole. She does it virtually for you. She will do thorough research, because I've seen her in action, to pick out the clothes, get your sizes. She picks 3 outfits per event. So if you're going to brunch, she's going to give you 3 outfits to cross merchandise and choose from. And does she buy the clothes? You know what? I don't even know. I'll have to ask her about that. But the girl is bomb as fuck, and that's my home girl, and she's doing great things. She's definitely inspired me to continue on my personal goals. So if you guys are looking to redo your wardrobe or you need a stylist, definitely hit her up. Her Instagram is Flick Styles. That's FLIKSTYLES. So she's mobile too. Like, she's from Atlanta, and she will sometimes go down there and handle her clients. So if you're in the Atlanta area, definitely look into her if you're in the Northeast Metro. She's also doing like the DMV area, so definitely look into her looks. She's got it on her Instagram right now that I just mentioned, Flick Styles, and hit her up and, let her fucking make you over, because some of y'all need it. Some of y'all need to get y'all summer looks ready, because how y'all be dressing ain't it sometimes. All this dress for the body you have, not the body you want, because y'all thotting and bopping all over Washington. No, just kidding. I was just playing. But definitely hit her up. Yeah, she does a great job, and I'm just so proud of her and so, amazed at what she does. So with that, it concludes another show, another episode 25. I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this episode. Sorry I couldn't make it longer, but we all got shit to do, and it's a busy ass week. Once again, I will work on trying to fix the Spotify issues. I'll try to get that, and I'll keep everybody updated for the next episode. But in the meantime, like I said, you have the Podbean website and the app. You have the Android apps. Figure it out, because I don't know which apps it is, but I know it's on there because my homegirl listens to my podcast through an Android app. So y'all got this. But we also, I also got YouTube as well. So check out YouTube. You can get the episodes and just listen to the audio on there. Don't forget to follow the Instagram account, Whiskey and We. I'm also on Twitter. And then, I was on Tumblr and I was on Facebook, but they're interconnected, obviously. So when I post something on Instagram, it goes there. But then I realized, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like, I don't think people are on Tumblr anymore. I'm not on Tumblr. So I feel like, I'm on Tumblr if y'all want to check it out, but it ain't the kind of Tumblr that you think. This is PG shit. But they stopped that anyway, so it ain't like y'all were going to see anything. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention this in the last few episodes, but if you haven't already, definitely go to the iTunes site, and you can also do it on Podbean as well. Rate, like, subscribe, comment, anything. I appreciate anything you can give. I appreciate the love that I've gotten so far, but definitely go and give your boy some love. I appreciate it. I'm grateful. So I hope you guys have a bomb-ass rest of the week. I hope y'all have a bomb-ass weekend. Be safe. Whatever you do, turn up. The weather's going to be up here, but that never stopped New Yorkers. So be safe, have fun, and I'm going to see you guys next week.